I want to tell the story of a pastor that possibly about 8 years ago, he was in a space, in an area like where you are today. So the first one is about the vision of what we've heard of how we're going to put things into practice. And this is why we talk about the mission. How am I going to do that? The seed that the Lord is planting in our hearts. How am I going to accomplish that? So that pastor about 8 years ago was sitting in the same place that you were today, and that pastor was confronted seriously in all the dynamics that were being done. And one of the biggest issues was that that pastor had been pastoring that community for 18 years. And once the exercise came to get to know the community, he did not know the community, because for 18 years that pastor lived in that church only focused in prayer and fasting, visiting the brothers and sisters in the church, very inward, but very disconnected from the community that that pastor was in. So when that pastor left the workshop, he was moved by the Lord. One of his tasks, remember, the how. How am I going to be able to implement this vision? So that pastor, when he left this workshop, he had a little notepad and a pen, and he started to walk in the community where he had been for 18 years. And he started to walk, and as he was walking, the first place that he found was the local school, which was in very bad shape. And the windows broken, and this were very difficult circumstances. And one of the questions that this pastor started to ask himself after 18 years, how was it possible that he was in that community for 18 years and he had not noticed that that was the condition in which the school was, that was the condition that the school was on, and this was the school that the brothers and sisters of the church would go, and the community children would go. And this way the pastor was wondering where you were, because one thing is to have a church in the community disconnected from people, and then the other is to have a church in the community that's for the community, connected with the living, with the people and the way they live. So that pastor continued to walk, and then he found many homes in very bad shape. And he notices that there are so many lottery and gambling spots and convenience stores, and many children walking as if they didn't have any protection, as if they didn't have parents. And that pastor, as soon as he came home, started to cry. And when he started to cry, he could only say to the Lord, Lord, forgive me, because for 18 years I was in this community pastoring, but with a message that was focused inward. It was very disconnected from the community. This happened for 18 years. This pastor was in this community for 18 years and knew nothing about this community. And that pastor is Gustavo Campusano. That is me.